Yeah, welcome to the Tuesday edition of 15 Minutes of Positivity. Gonna try to really keep this to 15 minutes as per usual. If you're new to this, we meet every day just for a few minutes to practice this concept of what we call self-directed brain plasticity. So it's a fancy term for the fact that we can intentionally use our mind to repeatedly activate parts of our brain. And when we activate those parts of our brain, we're in essence training our mind or predisposing our mind to have, uh, certain different kinds of reactions or behaviors. And so the idea is that we can empower ourselves to actively participate in becoming the kind of person we want to become when it comes to our thoughts and our emotions and our sensations. And so the theme for today, I've been on a bit of a science kick lately, is this concept of myelination. If you've never heard of this, I'm just going to describe it really briefly. So here we have a neuron, right? So our neocortex, our gray matter, contains about 100 billion of these brain cells called neurons. And they're not the usual. So I'm thinking back to ninth grade biology. When you see a picture of a cell, it looks like this round circle, and then there's all this stuff on the inside, and there's certain processes that happen on the outside, and that's like your typical red blood cell. Neurons are different. Some of them can be several inches long. We obviously have an incredible number of them, and they are single-handedly responsible for everything that we experience. So every thought, every sensation. Right now, the fact that you can hear my voice, you can see things on the screen, this is all due to the fact that certain collections of neurons in our neocortex are communicating with each other. Now, what makes them special is that these 100 billion neurons communicate with one another through these synaptic connections. That's the box that you can see up here. But what I want to focus on today is this idea that there are these what are called axons and dendrites. So the neurons send out these axons, and they are met by dendrites of other neurons, and that's where the synaptic connections take place. And what surrounds the axons, all of these little green little buffer things, these little balloons that you can see here, this is what's called myelination. This is protein-rich and fat-rich sheathing that goes around the axon. And so I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I once had rats or mice chew through the rubber wiring on some electrical cords in my car, and of course it made the car short circuit and do all kinds of things. Why? Because the wires on the inside were now exposed, right? They were no longer being protected. So the electrical signal couldn't efficiently pass through the wire and get to the end point where it needed to get to. So myelination is that. It is the protective sheathing that supports the efficient conduction of the electrical signal, the bioelectrical signal that goes from this neuron to that neuron, and it ensures that that signal gets there. So the reason I'm harping on this is fundamentally a part of our learning process. So when we learn a skill like gratitude, or we learn how to self-soothe, or we learn to be kinder or more loving, fundamentally, this is impossible without this process happening. The more we do it, the more efficient our brain becomes at it. And then you end up with this same imagery here. This is obviously a time lapse, over many hours, but this is literally these neurons communicating through these axons and dendrites, connecting with each other, sending these impulses. And the more they do that, the thicker that information highway in essence becomes, and the more established it becomes. And this is fundamentally due to this process called myelination. So hope that's not geeking out too much on the science, but for me, it's always really helpful to actually understand, like, why are we doing what we're doing here, and how does this actually work? Yesterday, we focused on what I would call diffuse attention. We took a step back and said, okay, let's just be quiet. Let's sit still and let's just observe the nature of our mind. So, whatever thoughts, whatever sensations, whatever memories, whatever activity of the mind is popping up, let's just take a step back. And so, our attention was very diffuse. We're just kind of open to whatever's happening. Today, I want to go in the opposite direction and stimulate these neurons that allow us to be really hyper focused. And we're going to do that through a body scan. So it's going to be very focused attention. So let's go ahead and start that. Close your eyes. And as always, let's just ground. Let's take 45, 60 seconds just to notice the ground under our feet, under our body. Maybe this is the first time today that you're actually slowing down to notice that planet Earth is beneath you. And just notice the sensation. What's it like to have feet, legs that are attached to those feet, that are connected to the ground, literally? Gravity is pulling us down. Whether we're laying down or standing up or sitting down, gravity is always there pulling us, and there's a contact point that we have in any given moment with the ground. So that's what I mean with the grounding. Maybe wiggle your toes a little bit, bringing more of your attention to your feet. And then let's slowly move this laser focused awareness and concentration up the back of your legs, both the right and the left, your calf muscle, to the back of your knee. And just rest there for a few seconds. What's it like to bring the locus of your attention to the back of your knee? And again, I'm not looking to create any specific sensation. We're literally just practicing focusing all of those neurons and all of that capacity that we have to focus our attention on an object of our choosing. And right now we're just choosing the back of our knee. And slowly slide your attention up your hamstrings, your glutes, and just settle in your pelvis. It's a big, big bone in our body, one that we usually don't necessarily think about or focus on. But see if right now you can just rest your attention and your focus on whatever your pelvis feels like right now. Maybe noticing the solidity and the mass of this large bone. Then focusing on where the very bottom of your spine meets your pelvis, the very bottom back part of your back. And then imagine yourself creeping up one vertebra at a time, slowly but steadily up your spine. And you're just taking inventory. You're just imagining what it's like to be able to actually see and feel and be cognizant of the fact that you have all these vertebrae that are attached. working your way halfway up your back, middle of your back. You can twist and turn your body a little bit to enhance the sensation of your vertebra between your shoulder blades, the back of your neck, all the way up to where your spine meets your cranium, your skull. Just rest there for a second. Noticing how your skull sits on top of this incredibly long, amazing mechanism of bones and cartilage and nerves that extends all the way down to your pelvis, through your legs, your knees, your feet, all the way into the ground. Now focusing on the soft tissue around your neck, so your shoulders, moving your locus of your attention on the backs of your arms, your triceps, your elbows. What's it like to have elbows right now? Maybe it feels unremarkable. Maybe it feels amazing. We're just observing, we're just taking notice. Down your forearms, through your wrists, and resting your attention in your hands. What do your hands feel like in this moment? Noticing temperature, sensations. You can play with your hands, you can interlock your fingers, you can unlock them and just place one hand in the other and just notice what it's like to have hands. And then shifting your attention up to your throat, noticing air passing in and out of your throat on its way to the lungs, back up to the nostrils. Noticing your jaw. See if you can relax your jaw just a tiny bit more. Moving your attention along your cheekbones, down to your nostrils. And slowly working your way up your nose into your eye sockets. Noticing your eyes resting in your eye sockets. And just notice the activity of your eyes, even when they're closed. Neurologists consider the eyes to be the only part of the brain that's actually exposed to the outside world. And there's some of the highest density of cellular activity takes place in the eyes and the retinas. Just noticing activity in the eyes, then moving your attention up to your forehead. Slowly working your way up your skull to the very, very top of your head, your fontanelle. And maybe even imagining a really thin silk thread just ever so gently pulling you up skyward, the top part of your head. Notice how that changes your posture. And then go ahead and take a deep breath in. And let's exhale. Go ahead and open your eyes. I could keep going on like this for quite a while today, but we are out of time. Don't let me stop you from continuing on if you feel so inclined. But that's all the time we have for today. I hope that was a good break and a good reminder to connect with your body and remember all of the neural activity that's associated with that process. So take care, everyone. It's great to see you. Thank you.